Okay, we are up to 15, 7. Sifsei chachamim yizaru da'as v'leiv ksilim lochein. Okay, and the reason why I included the ta'amim here is because I know that at some point either Sean or David is going to ask if you could read the pasuk as Sifsei chachamim yizaru da'as v'leiv ksilim lochein. So I'm heading that off of the pass. Okay, yeah. All right, translation.
Lips of the wise.
Lips of the wise
will winnow.
Yeah. So I don't know if it's yeah. So winnow is one. I feel like scatter is probably the one that most of the meforshim are going to go with, even though I haven't checked it out. So let's say scatter and then winnow.
As strange.
No, and in fact, I was wondering about this. About is zara ever used as a verb for strange? Is an adjective, definitely, but obviously like about Zara, but yeah.
I was gonna ask about the translation. We know it's not so right because we don't have an I in.
Yeah, right? Yeah, that's a different shorish.
Yeah.
So
spread out.
Yeah, spread out also. Yeah, scatter or spread out. Yeah, v'leiv ksilim lochein.
Assuming that's what fan means, like.
Oh, probably yeah. Yeah, I don't think it means like a fan like that. Yeah. Cause to fly, scatter. Okay, fine. Yeah. V'leiv ksilim lochein.
In the
Good.
heart mind, flesh mind.
Yeah.
The fools
is not so.
Is not so. Yeah. Okay. All right. I think that's pretty straightforward. Okay. So we have here Matsudas ציון says Yazaru is inyan pizur kamo Yazaru al navehu gofris. Okay. So pizur is another one, right? So how would you translate like mefazer? It's a spread, yeah, but I feel like it has a specific implication about the kind of scattering.
Imprecise. Kind of like willy-nilly.
Yeah, willy-nilly, yeah, like imprecise, right? Yeah. In other words, like I don't think you use yifazru, like for example, in tzedakah, you use it as like indiscriminate spending, or yesh yeah, mefuzar meforad, right? Mefuzar is like all over the place, right? Not like as opposed to let's say like evenly dispersed or like strategically placed. You know,
there's also arei hapirazos, like the unwalled city.
Right, but I think that also implies like an open, right? Yeah, right.
Paris of Bazaar, like scattered as if you're, like,
yeah,
Sorry, it's not Pazar.
Yeah, I'm also. What was it?
Our Mifuzar is.
It's the same shore.
Oh, sorry,
yeah, right. Yeah. Right. So in other words, the point I'm trying to make here is if you're picturing someone like, yeah, right, then that's bad. And also I would say like, let's say like if you are dusting like confectioner sugar over like a cake, that's like I don't think that is mufusar, right? So it's like scattered. Yeah, right. So scatter, I think that's why I feel like scatter is like the best. Yeah. Yeah. Not the best culinary technique. Okay, so all right, so he says it's pizur, which is like to indiscriminately scatter. Yeah. Okay, Targum Sadigon translates the first half as Sifsei chachamim yifazru v'yafitzu esadas. Okay, so he like adds a word for clarity. Obviously, he's not doing it to like insert a new word. So the lips of the wise, how do you characterize what he is trying to get at here?
I think it's going far out.
Yeah, I think so, right? Yafitzu.
Yeah.
V'yafutzu. Isn't that in this week's? Yeah, right. But what's the doesn't use that about Avram and Lot, their shepherds, or am I imagining that when they spread out? Oh, no, you're right, yeah. All right, so the lips of the wise scatter knowledge afar, probably, right? That'd probably be a good way to say it. All right, whatever. All right,
what about ksilim?
So he, I guess it doesn't replicate it because he doesn't change anything there.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah. I think this targum is from Kafeth, and I think he just usually highlights what is changed, but not the stuff that's the same. Targum says Sif vase dechakime modi'in manda'a. Okay, I think that just means, what was it?
Modi'in means like make known.
I think so, right? I think it just means like they convey knowledge, right? So the lips of the wise convey knowledge. It always bothers me. There's like there's no good English word for lahodia.
To inform, but
inform implies information.
Yeah,
you could say to make known, but there's no like one. Like you could say to teach, but like to give da'as, to impart knowledge. Like you have to like add another word in English. Yeah. V'libahun desachle lochen. Okay, and the heart of fools is not like that. All right, fine. I think that's the same. All right, article, the lips of the wise spread knowledge, but not so the heart of fools. Okay. I don't know where Rav Hirsch gets this. The lips of the wise search for perception. Search for is the one that's weird. You could say that das is like perception, maybe, but search for, I don't know where he gets that from. I've never seen Zoreh mean to search for, and then not so the heart of fools. Ultras, the lips of the wise spread knowledge, not so the heart of fools. Okay, so our translation I'm pretty happy with. I don't even think I need to really display these, but I'll keep them up there in case anyone needs it. Okay, so what are the questions? This is I call this in the shiur announcement. This is like a classic Mishlei pasuk. I remember Aaron. Okay, there was a year where Rabbi Zimmer taught at Rambam, and technically he's still on sabbatical. If you ask him, but I remember Aaron Azos was in his shiur, and Aaron Azos. I remember one time, like I don't even know if he said it to me or he just said it in my presence. He was like, "How come all Mishlei pasukim are about fools and lips?" And I was like, "I see how you get that impression." Yeah. I was like,
so I'd say the verb and the noun in the first half kind of make sense, that lips could be scattering knowledge.
okay,
But the second half seems to be implying that the heart of ksilim might be doing that, but that doesn't seem to match. This is not the best way to formulate.
okay. I feel like there's several questions lurking in there. Yeah, you wanna?
Yeah, I mean, maybe to flesh out. So I think the first one is, if they're opposites, how is the say chachamim opposite of ksilim? Because lips and heart don't seem to be opposites.
Okay, right.
Yeah.
So how exactly, and we'll italicize it. Okay, are the two halves opposites? Given that that the heart is not something that seems to lend itself to spreading knowledge in the same way as the lips. Is that too precise, too specific of a formulation? I feel like that's what you were trying to get at, right? Okay, good. Yeah.
Two more questions.
Okay.
The first one is, in the second half, when we say the lips ksilim lochen, is that addressing the fact that they don't spread knowledge, meaning they spread not knowledge, or they're not able to spread? Maybe they have knowledge, but they're not able to spread it.
Right. So what is being said about the heart of fools? Okay, that it doesn't spread knowledge, or that it spreads something else, or another possibility.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the third thing is, I guess, what is maybe the metaphor of Yuzaru? Why not just say like the Onkelos like just teaches?
Right. Okay. So what?
Or is the idea of that?
Yeah. Hold on a second. Let me put this. What does Yuzaru mean? And why use that specific term instead of a more normal one, like speak or teach or is something like that? Yeah, let's just go circle. Yeah, Isaac.
Okay, so if Yuzaru means scatter,
Yeah.
like indiscriminately,
Mhm.
then my question is this true? If there's other things about how chachamim could be like prudent,
Right.
Chachma.
Okay, so if Yuzaru does imply like indiscriminate scattering, okay, then is this like I'm gonna say, is this a true and or I guess what's the word I'm looking for? Exemplary. That's the kind of thing I'm looking for, right? In other words, is this really how you would characterize the way that the chachamim convey knowledge? Is this a true statement? In other words, no, that's true or apt. I'll just say apt statement. Okay, meaning like in other words, is this the best description of how the wise convey their knowledge? Yeah.
Dude slash as a dude slash should convey their knowledge.
Yeah, do or should. Yeah, David.
The lochen is very weird to me. I don't think I've ever seen a pasuk as just lochen.
Yeah.
Even if it's going to be negative, it'll be they don't actually tell us like what they don't do.
Right.
They just say they don't do that.
Right.
I don't think I've seen that in Mishlei, but I also just what is that?
Yeah, I actually am wondering. I feel like I have seen that once in Mishlei. This does not invalidate your question. I'm just curious though. Yeah.
Uh,
You're just
yeah,
quoting the Tillam Aleph.
I think so.
Yeah.
Because it's weird to characterize someone based on somebody else. It's even you could say within them they don't do something, but to say that they
Right.
don't what the other.
I mean, isn't
person
that how this whole election went? No, I'm just kidding. Yeah. Okay. All right. Someone had to make a comment about the election. All right. Lochin is ours.
It's glad it was me.
Yeah. No, it looks like you're right. Okay, fine. So stylistically, why state the second half in such terse and negative, I don't mean like downer, not like terms, instead of like positively describing what the fools do instead.
Emojis now.
You've been able to do that a long time. It automatically does. It's more of an annoyance to me than a boon.
How did it overnight? Oh, never mind. Sorry. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Amazed by this.
Yeah, Ezra. I'll come back to the others.
Yizur seems to be a unique quality of a chacham. So isn't it obvious that ksilim don't do that?
Okay, yeah. All right. So I'm gonna tack that on. I'll put this here. All right. So isn't it obvious that the ksilim, ksilim don't do this?
They don't even have das now.
Yeah. They aren't really involved in das. Yeah. Ariel?
only-
Oh, yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Not only are they not involved in DOS? Like if it's the quality of the chachamim, clearly the ksilim aren't going to be.
Right. Okay. Yeah. I'll add that. That's how Ezra asked it. So if spreading knowledge is a quality of chachamim, isn't it obvious that ksilim? Yeah. All right.
Yeah. Why use it in like sifsek, meaning like lips, as
Yeah.
opposed to like the actual like statement of the chachma, or like I don't know
Okay,
if it's
right.
the same thing, but like and also like
Yeah.
I got a nice measure to support this.
Ooh. Okay.
yeah.
So what exactly is
Religious
implied
parsha.
by lips? Okay.
Yeah.
As opposed to, let's just say,
The knowledge.
tongue, mouth, throat. What are the other things Mishlei uses to convey knowledge? Or just some like anatomical verb.
So I guess
Right.
what are lips?
Yeah. Right. So yeah, what are the lips? Yeah. Ezra, and then Arya after. Yeah.
Okay.
You're out. Okay. Yeah. Arya.
So from what I've seen, most of the forms of the psukim are one side good, one side bad.
Yeah.
But here it doesn't seem like the ksilim is very bad. It's just like
Okay, yeah.
This is good, and then the ksilim. It's not
Yeah.
so
Okay.
good.
So
That's
the
good.
question is here. So what's so bad about the ksilim, not doing this, right? I mean, like what's the, it's like, for example, I know this is not what you're saying, but I'm just gonna like bolster the question this way. I'm sure there are also non-ksilim, okay, that don't do what the chachamim do. So like, for example, like my go-to non-ksil non-chacham is like the classic American farmer, right? She's farming in his field. He's probably not spreading knowledge, but he's not like bad, he's not a ksilim. So the question is, so what's so yeah, fine. So the question is, what is the consequence of the ksilim behavior, or lack thereof, in here? Yeah, let's go, David.
I have 3 questions.
Whoa. I feel like we had an unspoken rule in Mishlei that like asking a pair of questions or a group of questions is, if they're related, then I feel like that's like good etiquette. But I feel like, I'm not saying what you aren't going to do. I'm just giving an introduction here. I feel like saying, because I was actually thinking about this when Moshe said, Rosenthal said, like, I feel like you could point to any one yeshiva guy and just say, give me all the questions, and he'll say all the questions. So I feel like once we open that floodgate, then it's just a little bit, so I'm just, do with that information what you'd like. Yeah.
I'll say one and then I'll wait if nobody.
Yeah.
For Rosariagon, he says Sute chachamim. Is there any relevance to that?
So I, at this point in my Mishlei career, it's a career. It's a good career to go into. I've noticed Sadigon always adds haze everywhere, So I don't know if that is like, he'll always like almost like literally almost every pasuk that there is a different translation, he'll add a hey to make it like a what do you call that thing in English? Direct no, not proper noun, right? Like a
Definitive?
no, is direct object? Is that V?
That's X.
That's S. Yeah, but S hot, right?
Redundant form.
Yeah, whatever it is. Yeah, adding the yeah, doesn't I know the rules. The names for the rules. Brown throat thrush. So I don't know. I'm beginning. I have never seen it actually make its way into his commentary. In other words, like he does it, but I never see anyone talk about it, you know? So it's a good question, but like to me, it smacks of like that's just I don't know if it's like an Arabic thing or what, but yeah. So valid question. I'm not gonna write it. Yeah, you can ask another one. You got two more locked and loaded. Yeah, I grant you. Yeah.
Okay, is there anything particular about the Kasil versus other, related to Arya's question?
Yeah.
Anything particular about the Kasil versus other not great personalities that he's the one who's singled out for this?
Okay, yeah, that's a good question. I'll make this into a separate question, which is I was going to put in the opposite question, but why are like I guess what is the subject such that Mishlei is contrasting the chachamim davka with ksilim, okay, as opposed to other Mishlei fools, like Evilim would be the one I would say, because Evilim is often present in like speech psukim. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Arya?
Did he have one more question?
He did, but we're gonna ride the merry-go-round.
Well,
Yeah.
I have 3 questions also.
Wow.
Okay, no. My question is like, what is it? Is it this guy? Is it the chacham's intention to scatter, or does it just happen?
That's a good
naturally?
question. Okay, yeah.
Or I guess that's related to like what is the scenario?
Okay, yeah. So was that 2 out of 3 of your questions, or was that
No,
one?
well, I think that's related. In my mind, they're related.
Yeah. So all right. So
What's-
let's say here, what is the decision? What if anything, is the specific decision-making scenario? And then let's say also what level of intentionality is implied by the first half?
Oh, that's 2 separate questions.
I'd say 2 separate questions. Yeah. Because I think you could ask the first question regardless of what part of the pasuk you go on. Yeah.
Okay. I don't know if that was.
You have 10
Yeah.
questions. Okay, fine.
No.
Yeah.
Is the chacham being mizara das? Is that like the manner in which he presents the das, or is it like specific das is trying to relay over?
Are you asking kind of? I'm going to put this in a bad way. Are you saying is the emphasis on Yizaru das or Yizaru das? Okay, I'll put this as the I'm going to actually make this into a question that I'm extracting from what Ezra said earlier, which is which I'm surprised Ariel isn't asking, which is in this obvious, right? So like, isn't the first half obvious? So what's the chiddush?
Not so much though.
Okay, and so now you come around, yeah. Okay, so I'd say like, is the chiddush on the Yizaru or on the das? Or on the Sufasayim, right? I think those are the three places in the first half that the chiddush could come from. Yeah. Does that capture your question, or
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, Isaac, and then
Yeah.
Moshe.
So actually, I think the chiddush is really from a different place. This is my question. What's
The vav, yeah.
The hey.
What's the leif ksilim?
What is the leif ksilim? Yeah, we didn't ask that. You're right.
Yeah, and I think it seems to me like the contrast between the lips of the chachamim versus the leif of the ksilim.
Yeah.
That we kind of have.
Yeah.
Moshe's question.
Yeah, Moshe.
I was gonna say, I mean, what's the audience or what's the advice being given?
Right.
Sounds like it's
Okay,
just,
that's yeah. Who is the intended audience, and then what is the practical advice being given? You know, I haven't said this year. I'm just going to say this methodology wise. I think I think we all know this, but I just want to say it is the purpose of asking all the questions is primarily to get your mind thinking about all the nuances of the pasuk. Okay, meaning I don't this part I don't think I've said. If our Mishlei thing was an hour long each day, then I think what I think I'd be more inclined to do what I used to do in or I do in other shiurim is after we come up with an idea, go through and see if it answers all the questions. But that's not the purpose of asking the questions. The purpose is to make sure that your mind notices and is working with all the stuff. Okay, so I just want to get that out there, to scatter that out there. Yeah. Yeah, David.
Definition question.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like we're kind of know what like chacham and
Yeah. What
ksilim
are
here.
chachamim and ksilim in this context? What is the definition? Yeah.
Yeah, that, I mean, we've taken out, I mean, I don't know if we have explicitly what Zora means here, have we?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Okay. Yes.
No questions, but I'm
Oh,
ready.
any other questions?
I have a question on the pasuk, but on the like the malacha of like Zora.
Yeah.
Like what factually like happens?
So factually what happens is you throw a mixture of usually, let's say, grain and chaff into the air, and then the grain, which is heavier, falls to the ground, and the wind blows away the chaff.
Okay, so then my question, this is what I thought.
Yeah.
I wanted to make sure. So if that's the case, then like, is there some sort of like, particular like idea you're trying to
Okay.
get from?
Yeah. So I want to make this into a question of, so we had if Yizar implies indiscriminate scattering. Okay, but then we'll say if if Yizaru implies winnowing, then what is the mashal? Is that what you're asking?
Yes.
Yeah, where's the mashal? So what is the equivalent of the grain, the chaff, and the wind? I feel like those are the minimal elements you have to have if you're winnowing. Window. Winnow. Yeah.
And shield, like where it lands.
Yeah, that I feel like you don't need to have, because I feel like you could. Well, you can't winnow in space. Okay, but, but I feel like it doesn't.
Some of winnowing is it being tossed up and the chaff blowing away.
Yeah.
And getting the seeds.
Right. Yeah, meaning if you winnowed into the void, I think you'd be still chayav on Shabbos. Yeah, that's what I was trying to get with the space analogy. Yeah. Yeah. You have another question?
Question on the question.
Yeah.
Is it necessarily speaking of the malacha of winnowing? Is it?
No,
is it just
but-
a translation. Like,
But the malacha is the activity. I mean,
That is what winnowing is.
yeah.
no, meaning if it just means like spread out, I guess then.
Yeah, that's what. Yeah,
Right.
yeah, exactly. Different definition. One more question just flashed in my mind. Oh yeah. Again, this may not be relevant, but what's the deal with singular lave and multiple ksilim, as opposed to sifsei chachamim? I mean, sifsei almost always is twice because no one has talks with one lip. But I do think it's weird to say the heart of the fools. It might not be weird, but at least it's worth asking. So we say lave. Okay, I'll tack it onto this. And why is lave singular, but ksilim plural, right? It could have easily said lave haksil, right? And sifsei chacham, right? Yeah. Okay. All right. Ideas? Do you have an idea?
I kind of like, I don't know if it's going to spark anything, but I just wanted to show this because it's related. I think it's related to this.
Oh, your
It's
midrash that you're bringing up.
compatible.
Okay.
Like it, as it was like this week's parsha where it says "V'nivrchu becha kol mishpacha ha'adama."
Yeah.
Right. I don't know if you're smiling because you have it related.
No, I'm thinking about that because I wrote for 2.5 hours last night and then scrapped it on that. Yeah.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, so like, okay, fine. So you probably know.
It's a smile with a tear. Yeah.
Okay, so you probably. I don't know
Yeah.
if the tear good or bad.
Not too bad here. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So
Yeah.
I don't. You probably saw this measure, Shan, like about like what does it mean? So Hashem says, to Avram is going to bring like root and Naama into your
Naamar, no.
Nama,
Oh.
Nama,
Okay.
which is interesting also because it's a question also
Yeah.
because she wasn't necessarily the best mom.
Yeah.
Because her son was
Just remind me the facts.
Nama. I think she was the wife of the wife.
You're not talking about that. No.
Naama.
Yeah, that is also the wife of Noah, but that's not the one you're talking about.
No, I'm
Yeah,
talking
yeah.
about the wife. I think the wife of Shlomo, and her son was didn't end up being like a good guy, good king towards the end of his life or something like that.
I mean, Rechavam is one of his sons who didn't end up being good.
Yeah. Okay.
So,
So
yeah,
whatever.
or
It's
whatever,
not, it's not
yeah,
wrong,
okay,
but the
yeah.
bottom line is like a separate question.
Yeah.
But and then fine, and then it goes on. Okay, well, what does kol mishkas adama mean? Well, like all the family, even the families who live in earth, are going to be blessed through Israel, and even like like the ships that are traveling between Galia and Spain are blessed only because of Israel. So like, what does that mean? So like, so we want to say on this is that like they're going to be blessed through like the chachma and the positive ideas of knowledge that's coming from Israel, and to them like they're going to walk away with it, and it's going to even affect their families and their cities and towns and whatever.
Yeah.
That's kind of like
so the quality that I am hearing from you in terms of the pasuk is that Yizaru, the emphasis is on spreading far out to the point where it's going to like affect people way beyond their range.
Yeah. I don't know if it's intentionally or not intentionally or just naturally, but it's just I associated it to this.
Okay, refers to the far range of the impact of the lips, of the knowledge conveyed by chachamim. I mean, good example of that I'm thinking of is I know it's not our chachamim, but like you look at where would the world be without Socrates, right? Like, and I guess I'm thinking about him because he only was his lips, right? I mean, I know, where would he be without Plato? But like, like that, you're talking about a guy who just sat down or walked around, and I guess he wasn't walking to school, whatever. He and just talked knowledge, right? And that transformed the Western world, So that's transformed the way everyone thought. I do.
I actually have two ideas. One
at a time.
One for scattering and one for winnowing.
Okay.
But
I'm also still waiting on the rhyming translation. But
yes.
yeah.
I forgot about that. Yeah.
Me too. Yeah.
It's been a while.
Yeah.
I think I'm going to do scattering.
Yeah.
So I think lips of chachamim I think is like Chris, like it's not, as opposed to lev, which is like deep. And I think the when the chacham is talking, he'll just be sharing chacham because that's just the way the whole like world that he's living in, the way he's operating. He's going to be teaching chacham to people like indiscriminately because as like scattering, not in like a it's getting dispersed and like disappearing, but like in a way where it's like going all over because that's how he talks. But ksilim, even like I think they keep whatever chachma they have in like internally, and they don't share it at all.
Okay, so whatever knowledge they have is kept in the depths of their heart, meaning that they don't share it. Okay, I like the first half a lot. Second half, I think, needs a little bit of development. And I just want to give an example of this. I always think about this with if you've ever okay, I mean, I've heard this live and on tapes, but like there's certain chachamim. The person I'm thinking of is Rav Shachter. Okay, Ken always describes Rav Shachter as is that whenever you listen to Rav Shachter share, it's like someone opened a fire hydrant, and it's just like just knowledge and anecdotes and like psak and like ideas and just and there are certain chachamim, and it's not that all chachamim are necessarily like this. For example, Dave Markowitz is very reserved in his speech. It's not like, but like there is a type of chachma where it's just like the entirety of their speech is just like chachma overflowing,
I think it's like an example of this is just like things where it's like I think you've talked about like a book about someone who's maybe like the Rav's like shofar or something like that, and just like his anecdotes about having random conversations with the Rav because there's just chachma coming from his lips.
Right, so much chachma there, Okay, so just to articulate what I think needs to be developed in the second one is I think we do need a more satisfactory answer to the question of what's the chiddush, or what is being said positively, like, or why don't they I think we need something from the second half.
I have a reason for why.
Okay.
It's actually a different Mishlei pasuk.
Okay.
Which is
because I have a different Mishlei pasuk that contradicts this, but
okay.
That
Lo yachpos ksil.
That's the exact pasuk I was going to quote. Lo yachpos ksil betvuna im behiskalas libas 18:2. Yeah, right. So a fool does not desire understanding except in revealing his heart, right?
Yeah, and so I say, it's not that he never shares chachma.
Yeah.
But I think when he gets chachma, he feels like, okay, I need to preserve this so that I can like show it off at the opportune time, or to keep my advantages or whatever. Like he's not like, I'm just gonna share my chachma. It's only when he feels like it will specifically be good for him.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm just not, because I think there's also a ton of other pasukim and memras about how ksilim are like the opposite. Like they will, the thing that's coming to my mind is a proverb of Chazal. I don't remember how the first half is worded, but it's something like if there's a coin in a pouch, kish kish karya. That's it makes a sound, that if you have, and the English proverb is like a jar filled with marbles, a jar with only one marble rattles loudly, but a jar filled with marbles makes no sound at all. Meaning that there is this idea of a ksil who has very little knowledge is going to just look for every opportunity to show it off. And the pasuk that you quoted, which I was saying is the opposite, I think testifies that is he's going to want to show off whatever knowledge he has. So yeah. Okay. We'll. Yeah, and I'm going to hold off on your second approach, not because it's from you, but because I want to work on the scattering one and the winning one separately. Yeah, Ezra.
I was just gonna depend on like Isaac's, I guess, full approach, even with the second part of being that he's the dots,
yeah,
as opposed to just like words.
Yeah.
With the
okay, that's good.
They're like, it's not that they're reserved for their thing. They're not exactly spreading out knowledge.
Okay. So the emphasis is in the first half is on the Yezaru Das, as opposed to words or or non-Das content. And what do you say about the second half in light of that? Did you say something? Or just
Isaac's approach?
Oh yeah, David.
I was thinking similar first. I mean, I was thinking that for the second half, it's just that there isn't much to what a conceal has. Like, just doesn't have much dot. And I think that insofar as like a practical takeaway from this, it's much more worthwhile to just get like even like small little something that a chacham will say in passing or wherever it is, versus like trying to like have like a deep conversation with the conceal. Maybe there's some like there's not much to be had in there, no matter how deep you try to go.
Okay, that's a good practical application. So practical application is try. I guess a person should strive to hear even the sichas chulin shel talmidei chachamim, right? As even what's the phrase? Afilu sichas chulin shel talmidei chachamim tzricha iyun. So sorry, whatever. So even the sichas. Yeah, sichas chulin. This is like the mundane chatter of chachamim is valuable. And yeah, right. That one's less obvious because the dust at their feet doesn't necessarily imply listening to their mundane conversation, whereas I feel like this member is more fitting. Whereas if you align yourself with if you converse with a ksiel expecting to have to get deep knowledge, like that is deep in his lave, you'll be disappointed. Hold on, before two examples of this, one on the record, one off the record. Oh no, I can do it. Yeah, no. So the on the record one is I'm sure you're familiar in this yeshiva. I don't think our yeshiva is the only one that has like what we call like shiur, like discussion, like people sometimes talk, So in the olden days when I was in Rav Pesach shiur, Rav Pesach did not record his shiurim. And so the only recordings were people who brought their own like tape recorders, and whoever was in charge, or not in charge, whoever like was the default guy who recorded Rav Pesach shiur would never start the recorder until after Pesach started giving actual shiur, so finally Rabbi Aronson brought his own recorder and would record as soon as Pesach started talking, and he kept two sets of tapes. There was the free shiur stuff, and then there was the like actual shiur, and it's like there was so much chachma there, and like I don't know look, if the person wanted to just have shiur and like conserve tape space, okay, fine, but if you at all care about chachma and like revisiting it, whatever, like you would record like all of the the entire thing. So that's that example of the first half. Example of the second half was I'll keep the recording on, is that like regardless of what you hold is better for the country, then Donald Trump is definitely a ksilim. Like we've been over this for the last 9 years, like 9 years in Mishlei. And there was an example of an interview. It might have been the Joe Rogan interview, and I didn't listen to it, but like someone just described it as like for a certain part of the conversation, he said you could tell the interviewer was desperately like trying to give him every lead to try to get something substantive from him, and he couldn't do it. And like he was a skilled interviewer. Joe Rogan's a skilled interviewer, but like he was trying to like get something of substance, and he just couldn't get anything out of this. It wasn't the whole interview. It was like about this one topic. So that reminded me of that. Yeah, David.
One other example.
Yeah.
That I think I see all the time people like get into like people that don't know much like get into like these big philosophical discussions and like I'm really like obtaining more knowledge. I'm really like they both just like really don't know much. Like that's not a great way to obtain knowledge as much as it seems like, because they're really like pushing. Like they just don't even know how to have a good conversation. They don't know how to have a conversation. They don't have anything substantive. I think
Wait, how does that? Which part of the pasuk does that fit into for your explanation?
The second half, that there's like nothing within the ksilim.
So you're saying if the ksilim is trying to initiate a because the example, the way I heard your nafkamina or your application earlier was that the pasuk is talking to someone who is either engaging with chachamim or engaging with the ksilim.
Yeah.
And if you engage with the ksilim, then you're not going to be able to get stuff out of him. So are you saying now that? Are you saying something different, or are you?
Maybe a little bit different. I mean, I think I'm still saying in line with that. Yeah, I mean, the example I think I was giving probably wasn't just two ksilim, which is okay. But I think if you're going to like get into one of these big discussions like, or debate with a ksilim versus just don't even try to start going in there, and it's not worth it for either of them to start trying to get into conversation. Just like look elsewhere where there's like who's talking actually knows how to. Yeah.
Okay. Let's go. Moshe.
Right. So I think that it's talking about different attitudes toward spreading knowledge.
Okay.
Meaning.
Sorry, this is a new idea.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
So chachamim, they generally will want to share ideas and they'll want to teach people, either because they recognize an inherent value in the knowledge itself, rather than knowing that it's better for other people for them to have us. But ksilim, I'm going
to just add, or for selfish reasons, right? Because chachamim know that when you teach, then you really are the one who gains the most.
Right.
Go ahead.
Ksilim, I don't think it's necessarily that they don't have any das. I think it's more of they don't see any value in spreading it. Meaning, if they they can live with themselves knowing something, but it doesn't mean necessarily that anyone else needs to know. Okay,
good. So is that I like. Okay, so it's not that ksilim have no das, especially if you take the definition of ksilim in Mishlei, that ksilim can be very intelligent and can be very knowledgeable in his field, right? But it's that they don't see the value. The value in spreading it. So I could say, could we just elaborate a little bit more on why not?
It's the question you asked on Isaac also.
Yeah.
But like they just say everything, so like how are they gonna reserve?
Okay, yeah. So the difference between Isaac and this is here, it's on my intuitive current. And so I'm going to just follow this and then I'll go back in a second. Yeah. So one thing is, they don't value knowledge as a good, right? Like, even if they use it, right? So for example, it's like, let's say, the way that a ksilim is going to, here's another Donald Trump example. Is I also didn't see this, but in the conversation he was having with Elon Musk, then apparently, like Elon was trying to get him to understand, like the concept of AI, like any concept of AI, and Donald Trump was just kind of referring to it as the AI, as if it's like like the one thing. And Elon was trying to like pitch like all the possibilities that AI could bring to the world, and it's just like there's no interest in just like oh, like investigation could yield good things. It's more like either like transactionally, like I'm going to get something from this, or I'm not going to get something from this. And if I do get something from this, it's the thing I get that's valuable. If I don't get anything, then the whole thing's valuable. And it's not like knowledge itself is valuable. You know, I think that's how the Ksil's attitude. Secondly, is you got to remember ksilim yisnu das. That's Mishlei 1:23-22 is ksilim. Ksilim by default hate knowledge, okay, because knowledge brings to mind the existence of a reality that doesn't conform to the Ksil's desires. Okay, so he'll make use of it reluctantly and looking the other way, if possible. Okay, and I had a third reason also is ksilim certainly don't see the value, don't appreciate the selfish value of teaching, especially if they view like the world through a relative value system by which, you know, if I'm ahead, sorry, meaning like by which I need to be winning. And if I share my knowledge with you, then I'm giving you an advantage, which not to say that Rabbi Akiva's first batch of Talmidim were ksilim, because they weren't, but this was a problem that they had, is that they were stingy with their Torah, that they didn't share it with each other because they related to learning as like an ego, like a competition, like you know, if I share knowledge with you, then you're going to be in the limelight and you're going to get the credit. And like, you know, I feel like that's going to be how ksilim are going to relate to it. Do you have something else on that you were about to say that I cut you off on earlier? No? Yeah, Moshe?
In line with this approach,
yeah,
maybe the reason the second half uses lave instead of another word for mouth or lips,
yeah,
is because the pasuk is reflecting either the chacham's or the ksil's relationship to the knowledge, and therefore the first half is speaking practically that the chacham spreads the knowledge. However, the lave, meaning the source of the ksil's relationship with his knowledge, is that he doesn't see value in spreading it for the multiple reasons.
Okay, that's really good.
And therefore, he's not going to spread it with his lips.
Okay, so the lips, whereas the second half emphasizes the lave, because the real point is that the source of, you know, is that the lave haksil is the source of his lochein behavior. Yeah. Right. Okay, that's good.
Right.
Yeah.
I think that this might be a different idea.
Okay.
But, you know, but I want to say that maybe the pasuk is really it's talking about the chacham and you know, like, and he should really transcend to what he is right now. And I'll explain because maybe you could say that like you know, the reality is that if you have chachma, like it will spread.
Mm-hmm.
You know, now knowing the difference between a chacham and a tzaddik, like from what I understand, like the chacham kind of like, you know, he's a chacham because he sees the, you know, long term, but just kind of like within his surrounding, right?
Yeah.
But you know, to think like in your image, like wider and more for the greater system as a whole, maybe he should be more active in spreading the knowledge.
Mm-hmm.
I'm saying that this chacham is not active, like he's willing to share the knowledge to like just people who he comes in contact with, but but not necessarily go out of it to spread it beyond that point.
So are you reading it as he should spread knowledge as opposed to he does?
Yeah,
okay, that's interesting.
And I'm leading, and
that's
really
interesting.
I'm tying this to like how I started off with the midrash, because that's what's gonna happen. The question is, how much do you want it to happen?
Okay, so I'm gonna tack this onto your other idea. So the pasuk is telling the chacham that he should spread knowledge because this will happen naturally to a certain extent. Okay. See Isaac explanation. But the chacham the chacham can create, I guess, create and reap additional benefits if he strives to make his chachma as available and accessible as possible, right?
Yeah.
And according to that, is it telling the ksilim he shouldn't spread his knowledge?
I don't know.
Okay,
I don't know.
so-
but,
so
but,
guys-
but what we said before about the ksilim is true.
Yeah.
I just,
All right,
you
so
know.
let's stop for today. Let me just quickly review. So we have Ariel's approach, which is about the range of how far and wide the chachma or the das goes or should go. We've got Moshe's idea of that there's two attitudes towards spreading the knowledge, and chachamim value it in such a way where it will spread, and that's going to really benefit everyone. Whereas the ksilim don't, even if they have it. And then we've got Isaac's approach, which the first half is still very good, which is that it's talking about just how naturally chachamim like exude knowledge, even like in their regular conversation. And then the question is, what are the ksilim doing? And then David's application, I think, is good for that approach. Also, is that you should seek out opportunities to hear sichas chulim of chachamim, even though it's not in a formal like shiur setting. Whereas the ksil, even in a formal shiur setting, it's going to be you're going to be disappointed. Yeah.
I think Ezra's thing answers the question on my idea that it's ksilim might spread their thoughts.
Yeah.
But it's not going to be dots.
Okay, right. Perhaps this answers the question, which is that if you see a ksil spreading what looks like knowledge, know that it's likely not, right? And that happens a lot. Yeah. Okay. All right. Have a good day. We'll continue tomorrow.
Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that is good.
That's what I was trying to get at.